Welcome to another edition of Green is Good. We're so honored to have with us today Robert Miller. He's the SVP, the Senior Vice President in charge of Inventory Optimization. Welcome to Green is Good, Robert.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Hey, Robert, before we get talking about what we're doing at the special edition of Green is Good today on Best Buy's campus here in Minneapolis, I want to talk a little bid about the Robert Miller journey and Robert Miller's story. Talk a little bit about leading up to joining Best Buy, what you do before, and then how'd you come into Best Buy and what you do leading up to your position now as SVP of Inventory Optimization.
Sure, my pleasure. Yeah, I joined Best Buy about 8 years ago. Before that, I lived in Manhattan. I was an investment banker in the retail industry doing mergers and acquisitions at a few different banks. And, frankly, it came to the point where my wife and I were deciding whether or not we were going to raise our family in the city or not. And we decided, as much as we love New York, that wouldn't mind being in more of a suburban atmosphere. And I had been covering retailers. Best Buy was actually one of our clients. I didn't work on that account specifically, but I knew a bunch of people at Best Buy through that relationship. And so I got a call from Best Buy to they were looking at hiring someone to come in and run their internal investment and acquisition group. And I love the retail industry. I love Best Buy, and perfect timing in terms of my wife and I wanting to kind of leave the city. So one of those fortunate phone calls, and it led to me joining in early 2007. And so I came in and joined to run this internal group. And one of the first things that we started working on was, frankly, partnering with Carphone Warehouse, which is one of Europe's largest retailers of mobile phones, a real expert in the business. And Best Buy at the time, cell phones weren't nearly as clearly popular as they are today. Best Buy knew we had to get into it. It's a very different business model. Best Buy had struggled before in trying to get into cell phones and just couldn't figure it out. It's just complex in very different ways. And so we were looking at partnership models to help bring that expertise to Best Buy. And so we started spending a lot of time with Carphone and ultimately ended up acquiring 50% of Carphone while forming a joint venture here in the U.S. to grow the cell phone business. So we kind of had a partnership with Carphone that was both in Europe and also both here in the United States. And by working on that partnership, I got very close to Best Buy's mobile phone business. And a couple of the leaders there one day asked me if I wanted to join and be the chief financial officer for Best Buy's mobile phone business. So it was a chance to leave the kind of advisory side of the business and join more of an operational role within Best Buy. So it was good for my career, and phones were fascinating, are fascinating.
Right.
So then I joined Best Buy Mobile, running finance and business development for what again was effectively a joint venture with Carphone Warehouse. And that business just did phenomenally well. It was wonderful group of leaders. Certainly the customers were adopting smartphones at a rapid pace. Best Buy had some really nice differentiated components to our offering, and the business went great, and the team was motivated, and it was a very kind of innovative culture within a giant corporation. And actually it did so well that as a company we started to look at how can that culture and that sort of spirit of innovation and acting differently, how could we apply that much larger across Best Buy, not just in cell phones, but in other categories. And so we looked at other related mobility categories like laptops and tablets and MP3 players. And we really, as a company, combined anything that was of a connectivity or mobility nature into one division of the U.S. And the other division of the U.S. handled all the products for the home, your traditional stereo equipment and TVs,
right,
et cetera. So we really had a home group and a connectivity group. And then I became the CFO of that connectivity group. So we kind of folded internally our phone business into a much larger business, which is about half of Best Buy's U.S. business. Huh. And so then I maintained that same type of finance and strategy role for all of the connectivity work. And then really about a year ago, we now had a lot of new leaders, Hubert Joly and Sharon McCollum, our new CEO and CFO respectively. And a lot of new leaders were naturally taking a look at what does it take to transform Best Buy, and where do we have opportunities to go after, where do we have some duplicative functions, et cetera. And the reality was, as much as it did make some sense to have a very home-focused part of the company and a very connectivity-focused, it by definition was a bit duplicative. And so as we were looking at whether that was the optimal structure or not, while also looking at where are there parts of the business that frankly we just haven't focused enough attention on. And again, this was about a year ago, and we started to look at all the merchandise or all the inventory Best Buy has that is not brand new. So certainly all of our recycling product that comes to us by taking care of our customers, all the product that we get by way of trade-in, where we actually go out and buy from customers their older products, all of the returns that we handle when customers don't have don't want to keep the product they purchased, some of the stuff when things break. Because we're such a large retailer, we have a lot of that product. And while all of that product has value and there are customers for all of it, we hadn't really built our business to focus as much as we probably should have on what do you do with all that merchandise, who are the customers, in which channels should you sell it. And so the more we talked, the more we said, we really need to bring together parts of the company that play roles in managing this type of inventory. And we need to think about it as a real business, not as a nice to have or not as a necessary evil, but something that we need to be, frankly, a lot louder about and prouder about and treat it as the proper business that it is. And so we formed Inventory Optimization, which really is a collection of groups that focus on where should we put new merchandise to begin with, very detailed forecasting work, because the more you put the product in the right place at the right time, the more you can prevent the return to begin with. The more you can prevent markdowns if you don't put too much in one store when you should have put more in another store. So the more you can stem the problem, if you will, up front, that's a lot of math and partnership with our vendors, et cetera. So my team helps figure out as best we can how to optimize where all the product goes. And then when products do come back by way of returns or trade-in or recycling, well, then by all means, let's treat that as the proper business and let's make better decisions and let's route that more effectively around the U.S. and let's figure out what should be sold in stores versus on websites versus in third-party sites. And let's optimize all of that, because the reality is there's a tremendous amount of value. So we put together a lot of really smart people to think and act very differently in an aligned structure, and Best Buy just hadn't really thought of that before. And I'd say in the first 10, 11 months we've been together, there's nothing but excitement around how impactful that's going to be to the company, how impactful it's going to be to our customers, et cetera. So that's the inventory optimization team that wasn't even around a year ago, and now there's as you've seen today, there's nothing but excitement around all elements of that work, because it matters to our customers and it matters to our business model.
That is just so it sounds like really what you're doing is you're aggregating the data that you have available to you, and then you're helping the company make better and decisions based on the predictive analytics, with the numbers that are literally in front of you. So you're really doing big data work right here.
Yeah, it's a lot of data and it's a lot of, frankly, a bit of just a cultural change that, we Best Buy proudly takes care of customers with all the latest technology, and we have amazing services and accessories, and we sell a lot of brand new stuff that people want, for sure. That's our bread and butter.
Yeah.
But the reality is customers also like gently touched items, and maybe for yourself a brand new laptop is perfect for you, but for your 9-year-old daughter, actually a 3-year-old laptop is perfect. And so we want to make sure we're taking care of customers at regardless of brand or price point or conditionality. We have a lot of really great stuff that we know customers want, but we just haven't done a good enough job of showcasing that. And so we're trying to get after that. Yeah, we're leveraging a lot of data, but it's also just trying to connect the real customer demand that's out there with the reality that we have the supply. We've just never really told that story. We've never marketed and made it easy to find and easy to buy. And so it's why you see a lot of changes in our stores, changes in our websites. We're trying to help customers understand how valuable this product is, and how we're going to make it easy to find and easy to buy, because that's what we're trying to do. That's what we do on the new product.
Right.
So why not apply the same merchandising principles and practices to the non-new product? And that's what we're trying to do.
For our listeners who just joined us, we're honored to have with us today Robert Miller. He's the Senior Vice President of Inventory Optimization here at Best Buy. This is a special Best Buy edition from Best Buy's campus here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And Best Buy had a big announcement today. And actually, Robert, you did an amazing job. You were the master of ceremonies. Can you share with our listeners what the big announcement investment was today and why it was so important to Best Buy, not only looking backwards, but more importantly, looking forwards.
5 years ago or so, as a company, we decided to formalize a lot of grassroots efforts across the country that were all tied to recycling. We knew how important recycling was. We wanted to play a role, but we hadn't really formalized how to make all of that work. And so 5 years ago, we decided to get very big and very serious about recycling. And as part of that, we said we're going to collect, on behalf of our customers, 1 billion pounds by the end of 2014 of consumer electronics and appliances. And I think, to be honest, at the time, it was we knew there was that much customer need. We didn't know how we would operationalize that. We didn't know how we'd go about doing it. But we knew it was important. And so we set in motion a huge goal years ago. And over the last 5 years, we have really gotten behind this and gotten stores really focused on connecting with their local communities and their local customers and telling that recycling story and helping customers understand all the great things we can do for them. And not surprisingly, it has grown at high rates. And in June, we actually hit the 1 billion pounds. And that was 6 months ahead of when we actually said we'd do it. And so then we took a couple of months, frankly, internally to get really ready for a big party.
Right.
Because the 1 billion pounds is not just a staggering amount of product. I think, John, as you said, it's one, it gives us a chance to pause and reflect on what we did and really recognize some incredible partners. Obviously, John, you and your company being a critical partner. But we work with a lot of external experts. We have a lot of passionate internal leaders. You don't collect 1 billion pounds and do it in the most responsible way without a lot of very focused people and partnerships. And so we wanted to make sure today we really paused and gave proper recognition for the amazing work that so many people have done. But then we also wanted to, frankly, talk about and think about what an indicator of future success, that first 1 billion pounds was. Because the reality is customers don't know how to transition out of a lot of the older products they have. They want newer items. The new technology gets more amazing by every day. But we know from talking to customers, they are confused about, well, how do I go about recycling? And isn't it a hassle? And doesn't it cost me a lot of money? And a lot of things that actually at Best Buy are all not true. We are here to serve in a very fast, free, and convenient manner because it's important as the largest electronics chain to step up to the plate on that. We ourselves are a manufacturer. We have a large exclusive brands business, and so therefore we certainly have obligations that we want to meet because we're a manufacturer, and we know it's the right thing for the planet, the community, the environment, but it's also just good business sense, and we want to win customers. We want to demonstrate the myriad of services that we offer them, and we know how differentiated we are here, and we know how much customers care, and so the first 1 billion is enormous, and we celebrated it today with a lot of fanfare. We were honored to have our governor here. The governor of Minnesota, Mark Dayton, was here. Our CEO, Hubert Joly, was here, and as you said, I had the chance to talk a little bit as well. But it's celebration of an enormous feat, and really, it's a celebration, I think, of where we're headed.
Well, let's step back for our listeners out there that have not yet had the wonderful opportunity to coming into a Best Buy to recycle. Explain how the program works, how easy it is, how it makes the customer service, how it's so seamless and can be part of the customer service offerings that you guys give.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you walk into any store, right at the front, we have a variety of, we call them the recycling kiosk, but they're little bins for smaller items. Cell phones, cables, things like that. And you literally can drop those right in the bin. And behind the scenes, when those bins fill up, we manage that in the most responsible way and move those products to our partners like at ERI. Right. And we recycle those. For the larger items, TVs, printers, computers, things that don't fit into a kiosk, if you just come in the store a little bit further and right at the very front of our store, usually you walk in and turn right, might depend a little bit on the store.
Right.
Right at the customer service counter, then we will happily accept the recycled item right there. And really what we do is we then take possession of the item and we move that to the back of the store and then bundle those items up and then prepare to ship them from store to distribution center so then we can start the process. So from an in-store experience, Small items are very simple and bigger items are very simple. And again, we're here to take care of customers. We know it can be an inconvenience to transition out of an older good, and we try to make sure that that's not an inconvenience at Best Buy. For the larger purchases, we obviously have a lot of customers that buy big TVs from us, and we have a huge appliance business. And a lot of times customers want the brand new products delivered to their homes. And so when we're coming to your home to deliver a new big TV or a new appliance, while we're there, then we also offer haul-away services where we will take your older appliance, your older TV free of charge. And then again, same thing. We will, from the truck, we'll take that to the distribution centers. We will palletize all that product and then start to move it through the various networks. So whether you are coming into a store and shopping with us in the store, whether or not we're ultimately coming to your home to deliver a brand new item, the point is we want to be there to help you when it comes to recycling.
And let's just go back a little bit even more. Best Buy, Robert, was one of the pioneers in retailing to do electronics take back.
Yes.
And is it safe to say millions of people every year come into Best Buys across the United States to recycle their old electronics?
Absolutely. It's millions of people today. Our CEO made reference to, on average over the last 5 years, we've taken more than 20 million individual units. I mean, in the more recent year, that 20 million is more like 35 million just because we're growing quickly.
Right.
It's a ton of individual items. It's a ton of weight across the entire gamut of electronics and appliances, which again demonstrates the customer need that people aren't sure where to take things. Obviously, we don't want people just throwing things away, and so we put our hand up in the air and say we're here to help. And I think we've pioneered it. We are very big at it, and we intend to be a lot bigger.
And you've set the standard, number one, and now you've, and today was a landmark day. So 2020, 2 billion pounds by 2020, another 2 billion pounds.
Another 2 billion pounds.
So talk a little bit about how recycling will be integrated into your growth strategy to continue Best Buy's tremendous run that you're on right now.
You think about major appliances and TVs. You think about big, bulky items and the inherent challenges with transitionalities, especially in the old tube TV model where those items are heavy and difficult to move, and not enough people yet know that Best Buy is as big in recycling. The awareness is actually relatively low that we are as big as we are, and we're going to change that through marketing, through public relations, through obviously shows like this. We want the word to be out that we have this incredible program. It's an always-on, everyday proposition. This what I've described in terms of the capabilities we have and the offering doesn't change by the day. It's what we always do for our customers, and we need to tell that story more succinctly and loudly. That's one foundational thing. But then when it comes to more people understanding what we do, we want to connect better to the amazing new technology, but the thing that might be in the way or the item that's sitting in the space where you'd like to put the new 4K TV is in fact an old 200-pound tube TV. Well, why don't we remove that burdensome TV for you, handle it in the most responsible way, and replace that with an amazing new TV and connect those transactions. So yes, we're doing a lot of things that are completely right for our communities and the planet around us, but we're also really helping you buy the item that you really want to buy, but you're not quite sure how to connect those two. And so I think by telling our story and helping people understand what we do, while we also tell a story about all the amazing new technology we have and all the services we offer and all the things that make our value proposition so great, I think we believe we'll grow materially because of that need and because of just helping customers understand that we're not just amazing at the new product, we're amazing at the old product too.
So today you announced from the stage, Robert, a new sustainability showcase here at the headquarters. Can you talk a little bit about, on a macro level, how sustainability is really cultural and a DNA issue here at Best Buy, and what are the other things you're doing besides recycling, which is of course amazing, and you've become the platinum standard in recycling. What are the things you're doing in sustainability, and why showcase it here? Because it's so important at Best Buy.
Right. Yeah, I think from a customer perspective, certainly recycling is front and center in terms of something that people can get their heads around, and certainly meeting the goal was why we made such a big deal today about recycling. But yeah, in the larger sense, sustainability is foundational to Best Buy. And whether it's, we run 1,500 stores or so, and so running those in a more energy efficient way and reducing carbon footprint and all of that is detailed work underway to continue to materially change how efficiently and effectively we run our locations. We are not only a manufacturer, as I touched on, we certainly work with all the largest manufacturers in the world, and that brings up opportunities around responsible supply chain and packaging solutions, and how do we all make sure that in our desire to protect products as they're being shipped, the fundamental packaging and boxing solutions are also all products that can be recycled once the customer opens up and takes out the item. And so whether it's packaging or supply chain or carbon footprint, and a bunch of related pieces, that's all, again, part and parcel to a true vision we have of playing a bigger role. And again, we know it helps all constituents involved. The beauty of sustainability and recycling is it really does help everybody. And it helps our customers and our communities. It helps our vendor partners. It helps us as a business model. It helps our shareholders. Everybody wins, but when we get after this. And so I think trying to tell that story and then continuing to make real changes, I think, again, is why we're so excited and why we devoted so much time today to talk about something that, maybe in the past would not have gotten as much publicity, but we really connect it to who we are as a company and our focus on transforming.
And you even have a name for it internally called Renew Blue.
Yeah, Renew Blue is a couple years ago when Hugh Barras, our new CEO then, was really looking at the type of work we needed to do to really change the company. And obviously we talk a lot about blue. Our blue shirts are field-facing employees, and the color blue is naturally all over our company. Yeah. And so we've talked about, we're going to renew blue. We're going to renew our incredible company. We know we have over the years not taken care of customers as much or as well as we wanted. Our cost structure got a little bit out of line. So we're doing a lot of internal and external initiatives that all roll up into a big strategic endeavor that we label Renew Blue. And as Hubert talked about today, this is part of that. A real pillar of renewing blue is being very cognizant about the role we play in the greater world. And within all of that sustainability work, this is a very powerful pillar of that work. Because, again, it matters so much to our customers and our communities that we proudly serve.
That's great. Robert, we thank you for your time today. We know how busy you were, and you did, again, just such an amazing job making this big announcement today. We know the future of recycling at Best Buy is bright. Best Buy's future is bright, and we thank you for making the world a better place. Robert Miller, you are truly living proof that green is good.